Hi, my name is Larry Ainsworth, and I'd like to introduce you to what I call timeless practices to improve teaching and learning. These are effective techniques that teachers use with standards, instruction, curriculum, and assessments. And the reason I call them timeless is because they will outlast any changes that are happening externally with standards, with state testing, and I'll show you what I mean. Here are the 5 timeless practices that I'd like to introduce to you one by one. The first one is called prioritizing the standards. The second one is called unwrapping the standards. The third one is referred to as teacher clarity or learning intentions and success criteria. The fourth one is common formative assessments 2.0. And the last one is rigorous curriculum design. So let's start one by one. Prioritizing the standards simply is defined as a tried and true process that prioritizes certain standards over others without eliminating any of them. The standards are classified as either being priority or as being supporting. And the reason why I call this a timeless practice is because the standards are voluminous in every grade level and every content area. And as teachers will admit to the fact that they are unable to teach them all, assess students on all of them, reteach and reassess, and get all of this accomplished within the course of a school year to send them forward to the next level of learning, this process will enable them to continually prioritize those standards regardless of any external changes that may take place in the future. Unwrapping the standards is the second timeless practice. I define unwrapping the standards as a simple way to deconstruct the wording of any standard in any grade level in order to know its meaning inside and out. And by that I mean this. The unwrapping process is a way teachers will identify the concepts, what the kids need to know, and the skills, what they need to be able to do, from the wording of the standards. It provides clarity, and it's timeless because it can be used again and again with any standard in any content area, regardless of the changes that may occur with those standards. The third timeless practice is teacher clarity. And what this means is learning intentions and success criteria. What do these terms mean? Well, the first one is teacher clarity is essential to writing learning intentions and success criteria. We have to understand what that standard is about in order for us to really make sense of it when we're communicating that to students. Learning intentions, therefore, are standards that have been translated, so to speak, into kid speak, and they clearly identify the learning outcomes that the students are to achieve. But it's not enough just to tell kids what they're going to learn. We have to show them how they're going to learn it, and that's what success criteria do. Success criteria spell out exactly how students will show that they have achieved those learning intentions. And again, the reason why I'm calling this a timeless practice is because it is applicable to any standard in any grade level in any content area and always will be. Teachers need clarity so they can plan their instruction and assessment and choose the curriculum materials appropriate to achieve their goal. The fourth timeless practice is Common Formative Assessments 2.0. Now the reason for the 2.0 is because in 2006 I wrote the original volume with my colleague Don Viegut. It was called Common Formative Assessments, and it is a dynamic step-by-step process used by all grade levels. The reason, however, I updated that 2006 book in 2015 and titled it Common Formative Assessments 2.0 is because of the need to show teachers how to write quality formative and summative assessment questions. And that's what this process does so very well. The CFAs, as we call them for short, are directly aligned to the targeted learning intentions for a unit of study, which are based on the unwrapped priority standards. So the idea is that to give teachers a process for creating quality assessments in the classroom will be useful for them, relevant to them throughout their career. The reason common formative assessments is going to remain a timeless practice is because teachers are always going to have need to develop quality assessments that they can administer to their students to gain evidence that the students have actually learned the learning intentions that is the focus of those assessments. And one of the great benefits of quality assessment questions is that they will allow teachers to make accurate inferences about what their students currently know and are able to do. And since this will always be relevant regardless of external changes, I call this a timeless practice. The fifth timeless practice is rigorous curriculum design. Rigorous curriculum design, or RCD as we call it for short, is a flexible framework used by curriculum design teams made up of teachers to create units of study for an entire grade or course in any content area. And one of the great benefits of the RCD model is that it keeps standards, instruction, assessments, and resources tightly focused and aligned. So let me talk to you now about a recommended progression of these timeless practices. The first three, prioritizing the standards, unwrapping the standards, and teacher clarity, can be done independently of one another. Common Formative Assessments 2.0, however, includes all three. And when implemented in the following recommended sequence, these practices will dramatically impact teaching and learning. This is all about making connections between these powerful practices. So the first one, prioritizing the standards. Priority standards provide the solid foundation for planning all subsequent instruction, assessment, and curriculum. After you prioritize the standards, then what? You unwrap the standards. So after the priority standards are identified, unwrapping those standards reveals exactly what the students need to know and be able to do. This is all leading into teacher clarity, the third practice. Unwrapping the standards enables teachers to write clear learning intentions and success criteria. So with those three foundational steps, they can then move into the design of common formative assessments because they directly align with the unwrapped priority standards, learning intentions, and success criteria for any one unit of study. And this same process can be then applied to other units. The rigorous curriculum design model, which is the fifth timeless practice, provides a comprehensive framework for creating multiple units of study for any grade or course. Now here's why this is important. This sequence is useful. People often see professional practices disconnected from one another. By having a recommended progression of these practices, teachers will realize that they can start with prioritizing, then they want to deconstruct those standards through unwrapping. This will give them the clarity that they need to write assessments for one unit of study, and then they realize they will need to replicate that process for multiple units of study, and that's what the rigorous curriculum design model does. The reason I'm recommending these five in a progression, sequenced one after the other, is to enable teachers to really clarify what they want their students to know and be able to do through the prioritizing, the unwrapping, and the teacher clarity steps. This will enable them to write quality, formative, and summative assessments for a single unit of study. And then when we want them to extend that process into multiple units of study, the rigorous curriculum design model will do just that. So together, collectively, these work as a powerful set of progressive, timeless practices to improve student learning for all.